You know, sometimes life throws you a curveball so wild, you can't help but swing at it with everything you've got. That's what happened to me when a fancy wedding invitation showed up on my door, announcing a stranger's big day in my backyard. I'm Jack Harper, a 40-year-old architect who just moved back to my hometown of Cedar Hollow to fix up my granddad Henry's old craftsman-style estate, a sprawling 6-acre gem that's been in our family for generations. That piece of cream-colored paper with its gold-embossed letters wasn't addressed to me, but it claimed my land, my home, as the venue for Emily and Ryan Whitaker's wedding, set for 3 weeks out, like it was no big deal. I stood there on my porch, coffee going cold in my hand, staring at names I didn't know, feeling this mix of confusion and irritation bubbling up. Who does that? At first, I figured it was some kind of prank, but the paper was too crisp, too expensive looking for a joke. My granddad's place, with its overgrown wildflower meadows and that rickety gazebo he built with his own hands, wasn't some public park. It was private, sacred even, a place where I'd spent summers as a kid, learning how to prune roses from a man who could make anything grow. Henry Harper was a legend around here, a botanist who turned this land into a living canvas, featured in local papers back in the 70s. When he passed a year ago, I left my firm in Denver to come back, to bring this place back to life, to honor him. The house needed work: creaky floors, a roof that leaked like a sieve, but it had good bones, and I was determined to make it shine again. So, I called the number on the invitation. A woman picked up, all bubbly and fake sweet. "Hello, Whitaker Land and Wedding. Emily speaking." I tried to stay calm, explained there must be a mix-up because, my property wasn't a venue. She cut me off. "Oh, you're calling about parking? Don't worry, we've got it handled. Guests will park on Elm Street. Your driveway's clear." I blinked, my grip tightening on the phone. "No, Emily, I'm calling because you've scheduled your wedding on my land without asking me." Silence. Then her voice came back, sharp as a tack. "That's absurd. I booked this through the Cedar Hollow Historical Society. We paid the venue fee months ago. It's all on their website, Foster Meadows, a registered historic site." My head started pounding. Foster Meadows? That was my granddad's nickname for the place, but it sure as hell wasn't registered with anybody. I told her as much, said it was my private home, not some community rental. She laughed, actually laughed, and said, "I have a contract, mister. Take it up with Linda Grayson at the HOA." Click. She hung up. I was fuming, but I pulled up the Historical Society's website, and there it was, my granddad's house, listed as Foster Meadows, rustic charm for your dream day, complete with photos of my own damn backyard, taken without my knowledge. The site listed Linda Grayson, president of the Cedar Hollow HOA, as the contact, with rental fees starting at $5,000. Linda, oh, I knew her. She'd shown up when I first moved in, all smiles and a binder full of neighborhood rules I'd tossed in the trash after telling her my land wasn't part of her fancy HOA. See, Henry bought this place because it sat just outside their jurisdiction, free from their meddling. I threw on a jacket and drove to the HOA office, a sleek little building in the middle of Cedar Hollow's gated community. The receptionist, a perky kid named Mia, tried to brush me off, saying Linda was busy with the Spring Festival Committee. I leaned over her desk. "Tell Linda Grayson that Jack Harper's here about her renting out my property without permission." "I'll wait." 10 minutes later, I was in a conference room, face to face with Linda, blonde hair like a helmet, pearls gleaming, her smile as fake as a $3 bill. "Jack," she said, voice dripping with fake concern, "what's the issue?" I didn't hold back. "The issue, Linda, is you're advertising my home as a wedding venue, taking money for it, and I never agreed to any of this." The room went quiet, her cronies shifting in their seats, but Linda didn't flinch. "A misunderstanding," she said, smooth as silk. "Your grandfather signed an agreement with our historical sites program last year." She nodded to a guy who slid a document across the table. One look, and I knew it was a fake. Henry's signature was all wrong, too shaky, dated from when he was in a nursing home, barely able to hold a spoon, let alone sign anything. "This is forged," I said, my voice low, my pulse hammering. "Henry was in hospice then, and he'd never let you touch this land." Linda's smile tightened. "That's a serious accusation, Jack. This contract's binding, witnessed by 2 board members." The program funds property upkeep. It's for the community's benefit. I laughed, bitter. Upkeep? I haven't seen a dime. Where's the money going? Nobody answered, but their nervous glances said enough. Linda leaned forward. We plan to discuss improvements once you settled in. Let's not make this difficult. Cedar Hollow's a tight-knit community, and our 400 homeowners value this program. It wasn't just a suggestion, it was a threat. I drove straight to my granddad's old lawyer, Tom Bennett, a grizzled guy who'd known Henry forever. He took one look at the forged document and shook his head. This is garbage, Jack. Henry's signature had this sharp little flourish. This doesn't even try to match. He promised a cease and desist letter, but warned me. Linda's got pull. Her sister's married to the mayor, and the HOA's got half the town in its pocket. This could get messy. Tom handed me a folder Henry had left, full of deeds and letters showing he'd fought off developers and the HOA for years. One note from the city, dated just before he died, confirmed they'd rejected attempts to rezone our land. Henry saw this coming, and he'd armed me to fight. Back home, I walked the property, seeing it anew, not just my granddad's legacy, but a prize people like Linda wanted to control. The meadows were wild, the gazebo sagging, but it was still beautiful, still mine. That night, sipping whiskey on the porch, I got a visitor. Gus Miller, Henry's old groundskeeper, a wiry guy in his 70s with a grin like he knew something you didn't. Heard you're tangling with Linda, he said, settling into a chair. Your granddad would be spitting nails. Gus told me how Linda's HOA had bullied folks for years, starting small complaints about unmowed lawns, then escalating to fake contracts like mine. You've got options, he said, eyes glinting. Let the wedding happen and fight later, lawyer up and shut it down, or get creative. Make it so nobody wants to party here. I leaned forward. Creative how? He chuckled. Henry always said, fight fire with a damn inferno. Make it unforgettable. That sparked something in me. A straight legal fight might drag on, but a public stunt? That could hit Linda where it hurt her reputation. I spent the next week planning, calling local businesses outside the HOA's grip. People were eager to help once they heard Linda's name. Turns out, she wasn't as loved as she thought. By the Saturday before the wedding, I was ready. At 7:30 a.m., 3 trucks rolled up, one with portable toilets, another with pest control signs, and a third with a bulldozer, courtesy of Miller's Excavation. Workers swarmed, setting up 15 bright blue porta-potties across the front lawn, staking pest treatment in progress signs everywhere, and unloading the bulldozer like we were about to level the place. Neighbors started peeking out, phones in hand, and I could feel the buzz building. Right on cue, Linda's BMW screeched into my driveway. She stormed out, tennis skirt and all, sunglasses pushed up. What the hell is this, Jack? I held my clipboard, all calm. Morning, Linda. Just prepping for a big renovation, new drainage, koi pond, the works. Starts Monday. Her face went from red to white. The Whitaker wedding's next Saturday. I shrugged. Oh, that? Yeah, bad timing. But since I never agreed to it, I'm free to do what I want with my land. Then Emily pulled up, phone in hand, looking like she'd seen a ghost. What's happening? She gasped, staring at the porta-potties. I got calls from neighbors. This is my venue. Linda tried to smooth things over. Emily, darling, a little mix-up with Jack. We'll sort it. But Emily wasn't having it. I showed her the forged contract on my phone, explained Henry's condition when it was supposedly signed. Her eyes widened, then narrowed at Linda. You said this was locked in. I paid $10,000. The crowd grew. Emily's mom, her planner, half the neighborhood, and Emily's voice carried. 10 grand, Linda? For a venue you don't own? Where's my money? Linda's polish cracked, her voice shrill. It's a technicality. We'll find another spot. I stepped back, letting the chaos unfold. Social media lit up with photos of my construction site, and by noon, the town was talking about Linda's scam. But I didn't want Emily and Ryan to suffer. I pulled Ryan aside, away from the shouting match. Look, I'm not after you too, I said. I know a guy at Pine Ridge Lodge. They had a cancellation for next Saturday. It's not my place, but it's gorgeous, and they're offering a discount because they hate Linda's games. Ryan shook his head, stunned. Why help us? I shrugged. Because it's not your fault. Call it a wedding gift. By evening, the HOA was in damage control. Linda was suspended, the historical sites program shut down, and an audit showed $60,000 in fees had been funneled to HOA Pet Project's new clubhouse furniture, fancy dinners. Linda faced fraud charges, got 2 years probation, and her family bolted to Arizona. Emily and Ryan's wedding went off without a hitch at Pine Ridge, and they sent me a thank you note with a bottle of bourbon, joking that the drama made their day legendary. A year later, with Gus's help, I'd restored the meadows, repainted the gazebo, and planted Henry's favorite wildflowers. I threw a big neighborhood cookout, string lights glowing, music drifting, and even some ex-HOA folks showed up, apologizing for staying quiet too long. Standing there, watching everyone laugh and wander the paths Henry once tended, I felt him with me, his stubbornness, his heart. Cedar Hollow's different now. The HOA's got new blood, new rules, and folks aren't so scared to speak up. But here's the thing, was I too harsh, turning my land into a spectacle to take Linda down? Maybe. It felt damn good, but it also dragged Emily and Ryan through the mud for a bit. So, I'm curious, what do you think? Was I right to go full inferno, or should I have kept it quieter, more legal? Drop a comment. Tell me your take. Have you ever had to stand up to a bully like that, or deal with a community trying to pull one over on you? Let's hear it.